I've had a lot of fun playing Tomb Raider Unfinished Business of late. I've been playing these games since the late 90s, but I've never played the expansions until now. It is wonderful to be able to play some old school Tomb Raider again, but experience something new at the same time. The game actually looks good. Now, admittedly, my copy of the game is a bit rubbish with things sticking through the graphics, most notably the pickups. But still, despite the fact that they are for the most part reusing Tomb Raider 1 graphics, there's some really nice stuff here. I mean, here all you really need is some atmospheric lighting and this would look like something right out of The Last Revelation. When I noticed that chunks of the level were actually in open roofed areas, it completely changed my perception of them. It is a bit silly that everything was indoor or underground in the original game, and having something be open roofed or even outside, it made it feel a bit more realistic. It feels a bit weird to use that word to describe 20-year-old graphics, but it did. There is something lovely and majestic about the Egyptian levels, especially Temple of the Cat. But I also love that the Atlantean levels look like things are falling apart, which actually does work if you think about what happened after Lara shot the ski on in the Great Pyramid. When I start putting up my Let's Play of Tomb Raider 2 Gold and Tomb Raider Chronicles, you're going to hear me moan about level to level continuity a lot, but that's not a problem here. Like the original game, one level feels like it bleeds into the next. The end of Return to Egypt feels like the beginning of Temple of the Cat. The end of the Atlantean stronghold feels like the beginning of the Hive. Again, I think that this makes everything feel a little bit more realistic and feels like Lara is progressing through an area rather than just magically appearing in a newly loaded level. I also feel like there's some genuinely scary moments. When you play a game over and over again, you become desensitized to it. I had forgotten how genuinely creepy and sometimes downright scary Tomb Raider can be. Whether it was a panther running up behind me or an Atlantean creature emerging from a drop I had fallen down a moment before, I got really creeped out. Unfortunately, there's also some elements to the level design that I'm not so fond of. If you watched my Let's Play of Unfinished Business, you know I struggled with the Atlantean stronghold. Having something that looks like it can be jumped over next to a raised area is dodgy level design, and the slight decline that's meant to let you safety drop is hard to spot. I edited down my faffing about, but it honestly took me about 20 minutes to spot it. 20 minutes in a tiny room. I do feel there's also some really cheap moments as well, such as being attacked by a panther while being surrounded by spikes and so you can't move. Or the mummy at the top of the cat statue that can send you plummeting to your death. There are also numerous times when enemies spawn behind you, such as the Atlantean creature that I highlighted in one of my previous videos. There is also some moments that are just absolutely ridiculous. I still can't get over the first secret at the beginning of Temple of the Cat. You flip a switch down, and then you flip it back up, and only then the door will open. I mean, that makes no logical sense. Think about it this way. The door is locked. The door is still locked. The door is now open. It just seems completely counterintuitive and just goes against logical thinking. You can also feel the beginnings of a Tomb Raider 2 style approach to level design. The abrupt ending to levels for one, the key collecting for another. The bit in Temple of the Cat in which most of the keys are literally just lying on the ground is rubbish, especially when you think about the main game and how tense some of those key collecting moments actually were. So much so that when you think about it, you don't think about key collecting. You think about the swords of Damocles about to fall and slice Lara apart. You think about the lightning bolts in the Thor room that I still have no idea how to get past. There's also a sense of pointlessness to the adventure. In Tomb Raider we knew what her ultimate goal was. She was looking for the 3 pieces of the ski-on. What is she doing here? Why is she back in Egypt? She doesn't pick up any major artifact. She doesn't seem to do anything except sightseeing. Now, it does make a bit more sense once you know that the Atlantean levels were supposed to go first, the Egyptian levels second, a reverse from what they are in the main game. So I think it's meant to go like this. Lara is in Egypt to get the last part of the ski on. She ends up on Natla's boat, which takes her to Atlantis. She destroys the Skion, which causes the pyramid to begin to collapse. She slides down this passage at the end of the final level, and then mere seconds slides down into the Atlantean stronghold, fights her way out into the hive, and then swims into an outdoor area. She then runs away from the pyramid, back into the boat, sails to Egypt, and has to journey through the tombs to be able to get free again, and then she returns home, builds her assault course, and spends a year honing her skills and learning some new ones. Okay, fine, headcanon accepted. But as it's presented, it isn't a huge amount of context within the game itself, which really bugs me. I'm probably asking too much of a 20-year-old expansion pack, but still, stuff like this annoys me. It is typical of games in Tomb Raider 2 onwards that we're not really given any real context as to why Lara is on the adventure. Why did she ever go after the Dagger of Zion, or the Enfada Stone, or the Amulet of Horus? The only answer I can come up with is, she wants them. But while some of these are legitimate complaints, some of them are just nitpicks. I really enjoyed it and have played it 3 times now. If you miss old school Tomb Raider but you've never played them, I'd highly recommend it.